I'm Steve The Bartender, and I've had a YouTube channel going for about 5 or 6 years now, all focused around cocktails and anything drink related. And very recently, as of a week ago, I published a cocktail book, Steve The Bartender's Cocktail Guide. So here to chat about how that kind of came about. I guess it started when I began the YouTube channel. So the community started to really grow around that, and writing a book was just another method for me to share my experiences. And when I first started the channel, not all the recipes and techniques I necessarily knew. The channel was simply documenting my learning process and my past experiences. So being able to share that with the community and learn and grow with them, that's really why I wanted to start and write a book. Yeah. I've been a bartender for a long time, so since I was 18, so the legal age here in Australia. So I started working in a bar from 17 as a glass collector, or a back bar, you'd probably call it in the States. And the day I was 18, I was put onto the bar straight away. They called it a cocktail lounge, but they served like disco cocktails, and the whole team really had no understanding of the basic principles of cocktails and how to balance a drink. But yeah, I started then when I was 18, so that's, almost, well, that is 20 years ago now. So I've been doing it all my life in different aspects. I've worked in tavern bars and restaurants and whatnot, but always in the hospitality industry. Yes, but I'd honestly say that most of my knowledge and experience has come from since I started the YouTube channel, so over the last, say 6 or 7 years. I understood the basics, but I've learned a lot recently, which is probably why it's good that I didn't try and write a book earlier, like in the early stages of the YouTube channel, because I've learned so much since then. And even putting the book together, I learned a lot, and I was just obviously doing a lot of research. There's a lot of history in the book as well, so I wanted to make sure everything was on point and correct. I'm trying to teach other people, so everything needs to be nice and accurate. Between writing a book and filming a video for YouTube is vastly different, because to be honest, when I've done a YouTube video in the past, I've pretty much just worked out what I want to drink that day, and then set up the camera and started filming and basically run through the cocktail, making of it, and then talk about my experience, a little bit about the history and if I actually enjoy the cocktail. Whereas the book is obviously a lot more in depth. It took 6 months worth of planning and writing and editing, and so there's a lot more structure into the book compared to doing a YouTube video. There's a lot of debate going back and forth with me and my wife, trying to decide how we should actually sort it out. And at the end of the day, I end up going to the community, YouTube community. So I asked on Facebook and on the YouTube channel to find out what would be the most beneficial to people. And given that most people that follow the channel are sort of beginners to intermediates, they all wanted it to be sorted by spirit. So all alphabetical order, categorized by spirit. And there's a contents list at the start of the book, and at the back there's like 2 indexes, so you can just have a look at all the cocktails in alphabetical order, or you can search by ingredient as well. So there's multiple ways for you to be able to find a cocktail really easily. So the book gives people more structure for learning in comparison to the YouTube channel. Especially the first 30 to 40 pages, it's more structured from the background and the history. It doesn't go into, it doesn't deep dive into it. It's not it gives you a brief understanding of how cocktails came about and how they've developed over time. And yeah, there's just more structure, so you can follow on for especially those first 40 pages and learn the basics, so that when you do start making those cocktails, then you have an understanding of why the recipes are as they are. So for example, So brief history, literally just a double-page spread in the book, and you've got the different stages of like early cocktails during Prohibition. I reference a lot of cocktails within the book that came about in that era. So for instance, the Prohibition era, French 75, you can skip straight to that section and read a little bit more about it, a bit more in-depth detail about the cocktail, which is paired with a timeline. So there's a timeline that spans from the 1800 to now, and it covers what cocktails were created, major sort of milestones in cocktail history, books that were released. I find this really useful to, get a true understanding of like, a Ward 8 that was created back in 1903, and you understand like how long it's been about and all the history about it. So, and then goes into cocktail families. There's a lot of people that like to break up cocktail families into multiple different ways. You've got the Cocktail Codex, I think they break it up into 6 families. Gary Regan, I'm pretty sure he does like 26 families. But this is basically how I break cocktails down into different cocktail families and categories that are probably more prominent today as opposed to back in the 1800s, 1900s. So such as the punch, the flip, the julep, the cocktail, the cobbler, and many others as well, of course. So, then it goes on to stocking your bar. Gives us sort of a brief rundown of Spirits 101, so an introduction of whiskey and the different categorizations of rye, Scotch, Islay whiskey, and so forth. Yeah. 125 recipes, so it was really important as well for me, especially considering it's aimed at beginners to intermediates, to have a full-page photo. So, for example, I'll find a really nice, pretty-looking photo. Angostura Colada. Full-page photo. That was an absolute must. So, when I was originally signed with the publisher, they wanted me to write a 200-page book, and I ended up going up to 304 pages. So. They told me to rein it in quite a few times and stop writing so much, but there was so much information that I thought was absolutely crucial to include. So I was pretty stubborn. I said no, it has to be kept in there. With each recipe as well, really simple formatting. So you've got across the top when it originated, the type of the cocktail, the method, the glassware, and then it breaks down a little bit of history, not too in depth. Ingredients on the left, step by step on the right. The part that I'm most proud of is the QR code down here. So you can scan a QR code on your phone and it'll take you to a 30 to 40 second video of step by step, just really clear and concise of how to make that drink. Yeah, so they're all brand new videos. So on my channel I've done about probably 650, 700 videos so far, and they're casual in nature, whereas these videos, they're all brand new, they're all specifically for the book. So there's 125 of them, and they're portrait mode, so they're perfect for your phone. 30 or 40 seconds, just nice and concise to just follow step by step how to make the drink. With time, they'll eventually be available on the channel. There's probably only 10 that are available at the moment. So over the course of the next probably year or two, they'll get published, rather than just publishing them all at once. That makes more sense. So, yeah, so at the moment, the majority of them are exclusive to the book. It's all modern and classic cocktails. So, I mean, there's a lot of classic cocktails that I just felt crucial to include. And then there's modern classics like the Gold Rush that have played a pivotal part in the modern cocktail culture. So that they have to be included as well. So it follows a bit of a timeline, and then the modern classics are basically just things that have been popularized, and also obviously everything has to be, I have to like it as well. There's probably only one cocktail that's in the book that I don't like, and that's the Bloody Mary. And I just think that's something that a lot of other people like. I've got so many friends that love it, and I had to include it despite me not liking it. My cocktail book differs from others that are available at the moment because, well, obviously the QR code, I think that's the biggest feature that's different. Like, there's a lot of people that are visual learners, so the fact that you can actually watch and follow step by step how to make the drink, it just really simplifies things. And then it kind of follows along with my approach to my YouTube videos, where it's just like, it's a kind of casual approach, it's easy to understand, and I just try and make it simple but include all what I feel is crucial. For instance, a lot of books talk about ice, but I've covered actually about temperature of ice when you're stirring and shaking a cocktail. So I think that I've included a couple of tests in there where you can undertake so that you can actually know that you're stirring the drink for the right amount of time, because it obviously varies depending on the speed of how you stir and a few other things. So a nice little test you can undertake once so that you know that from then on you're going to be making just perfect drinks. I'd like everyone to approach the book from basically the beginning chapter, the first 30 pages, because that's basically how to get started. But there's a lot of information in there that I think is quite important. And even if someone has been in the industry and working with drinks for a long time, like I feel like I have as well, but even during the time of researching and writing this book, there was still a lot that I learned. So I'm pretty sure those first 30 to 40 pages, there's something for everyone, even if you don't consider yourself to be a beginner. What is my favourite cocktail? People ask me that all the time, and it changes. It all depends on the occasion, who I'm with, and I know that's kind of a cop-out answer, but at the moment I'm probably drinking more Gold Rushes. That's kind of, that particular cocktail represents what I like in cocktails, like citrusy sour, but also just the simplicity of it, where 3 ingredients can come together, you know, bourbon whiskey, honey and lemon juice. 3 ingredients, super simple, but you can just have a great tasting drink because of it. And that's the kind of drinks I love. And if I was to create an original cocktail of mine, most of them will be simple variations on the old fashioned, the Negroni, the Manhattan, and yeah. So simple drinks is what I like. That company is still relatively young. We've only been around for 3 years, so all my cocktail learnings have been probably prior to Threefold, but we've got an excellent team that work there at the tasting room, and they all come from a cocktail background as well, so the cocktails they make there are excellent. It feels amazing to be a published author. I mean, I never would have predicted it going back, 10, 15 years. It probably wasn't a goal of mine back then. But also seeing the response that I've had so far has been overwhelmingly positive, so that's a good start. I had been thinking of writing a book, and the only option to me at the time was self-publishing. And purely because it was a lot of work, I hadn't sort of started the process of writing or doing any of that. And then DK Publishing approached me and asked if I could write a book for them. And it was kind of a no-brainer because I'd already been thinking about it, and signed on the dotted line and got to writing. Probably about 6 months total. My final manuscript that I handed in probably wasn't actually final, probably wasn't 100% there, so I ended up making a lot more work for my senior editor, and there was a lot more back and forth that was created by me. But yeah, roughly about 6 months in total. From when I first signed with DK Publishing, it's been about 18 months, so the total turnaround for it to be written, edited, published, printed and everything, 18 months. I wanted to say basically thank you to the community that has surrounded the YouTube channel, because that's the only reason that I'm able to actually write a book. So I held a cocktail competition with Mr. Black Spirits, their coffee liqueur, and we've run it for 3 years now. The first one, Mr. Swizzle, I featured that cocktail in there as basically a thank you for all the people, for the whole cocktail community, for contributing and yeah, watching and liking over the years. So yeah. That's a little Easter egg. So Nathan Robinson, the creator of the cocktail, actually only just found out about it like 2 days ago. I just kept that under wraps. If anyone wants to buy the book, they can head to cocktailguide.com, and then there's a list of retailers. It's available throughout the world, so Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Target, Book Depository, they ship worldwide. So plenty of retailers, but the easiest way to find them is cocktailguide.com.